Hey, welcome back to more D&D. My name's Brandon Moore, and allow me to be the first to introduce you to Heroes Haven, a town where adventurers, spellcasters, and warriors go looking for work and potentially planning for that sweet retirement after their adventuring days are over.
To retirement.
You see, Heroes Haven is a hub for all the places around Faerun to reach out looking for adventurers to help solve any kind of issues they might have, rather than hoping that these adventurers just happen to cross their town's path on their journey.
We're here to save you.
And so, adventurers have started coming here looking for that work and hoping to cash in on that opportunity and making it easier for them to meet each other. What does it mean outside of the game? Well, Heroes Haven allows anyone to play with anyone at any time while still maintaining that campaign-style vibe. So if you're anything like me and you have a lot of people that want to play and you're having a hard time scheduling a specific group to play at specific times, then stick around because Heroes Haven is going to save the day. And I have all the materials you need to run it. All right, welcome back. So if you're not subscribed yet,
My dentist subscribes.
now might be a good time to do so because this is the first of a series of videos I'm going to be putting out about Heroes Haven, going over each individual building within the town, going over the lore of each building, the proprietors, maybe what it's used for and how I run it. I also have maps and pictures of the building showing the inside and allowing you to give your players a good sense of where it is they are. And I'll also be going over the town itself, how it was created, what for, and so much more. So if Heroes Haven sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you subscribe. That way you get notifications anytime I post a new video about it, and it'll help you get it started on your end. Alrighty, so I briefly described what Heroes Haven is, but let's go a little more into exactly what it is in the world of D&D. You see, Heroes Haven is a town that was put together by a man and a woman named Craig and Angie Fresbin. They originally worked for a family company. It was a publishing company, and don't worry, this is all part of the lore that you don't have to worry about at all, honestly, but especially not right now. But Craig essentially got tired of being a part of the family business, and being the intelligent businessman that he was, realized that there's another very prosperous opportunity to look for. You see, adventuring makes a lot of money, but Craig's not an adventurer.
Puny human.
But he realized that he can make a lot of money off of adventurers by being the middleman, linking them up with the people looking for help. And so he decided to head off with his wife, looking for a perfect spot to set up shop and start building this town of his that he eventually then called Heroes Haven. So Craig found the perfect place to lay the town's roots right on the southern end of the River Chiantar to the east of Baldur's Gate, where he started off with just the town hall and grew it from there. Now this started years ago, and he's had adventurers come in and out and begin doing the work for him, but only recently has he decided to essentially create a stock market in the town to allow people to invest in it. And in doing so, he decided to make this a big event and reach out to all the adventurers he could find across Faerun, asking them to come join in and be a part of this new and up-and-coming town. Now outside of D&D, this stock market exists. You see, I created a whole spreadsheet that tracks everything day by day, which as long as you just track the days in this campaign, this spreadsheet does everything for you. But it allows your players to invest in the town, which is super exciting, I find, for all of them. They love to make money on the money that they have. And you can also adjust this spreadsheet to go up or down depending on the events happening in the town. If something bad happens in the town, obviously the stock's going to tank. And so by just changing a few numbers that I'll show you here shortly, you can have the stock crash. Or you can do the exact opposite. If good things happen in the town, you can change a few numbers and you can have that stock go up. This is one of the most notable things about Heroes Haven that everyone really does seem to enjoy. But back to the town. Craig has made sure that adventurers have everything they need right here in the town. There's a 4-story inn, there's a tavern, there's a library, there are training grounds, magic shops, a blacksmith, bank, a stable, a stadium, and there's even plots of land that your adventurers can buy, which is the second most fun thing I find players really enjoy. Because players don't have to keep the same character in this game. It makes sense that new adventurers come in and out and they just reach out to each other to go adventuring together and hopefully live on these quests where they're making money. But a lot of players like to keep their characters because they're saving up that money to buy a piece of land in Heroes Haven and set up shop. But going hand in hand with Craig making sure that the adventurers have everything they need, he also ensures that only adventurers exist here in the town. You see, one of the laws of the town is you can't make money in the town for selling goods or services. So there are no farmers, there are no small shops, only shops that Craig has installed himself and hired people to work for him.
Capitalism.
This ensures that the people there in Heroes Haven are only there to complete quests and go adventuring. You see, the beauty of Heroes Haven is that your players don't need to have backstories for their characters. They don't even need to just have one character. They can have multiple, because it makes sense that a flock of adventurers are coming to this town and working with other random adventurers just to complete the quests to make the money. I do find, however, that a lot of people like to play the same character over and over again because of the fact that you can buy land in the town. And so they're trying to raise up all this money to buy the land, to get a house built on it, because it is expensive, like everything in the town, because gold makes this town run. As I mentioned, there is no farmland, there are no small shops. The only way you're making money in Heroes Haven is if you're Craig or if you're adventuring and completing quests. So why should you start a Heroes Haven campaign right now? Which, by the way, Heroes Haven's right here if you were wondering. Well, besides the things I've already mentioned, like the fact that anyone can play with any group at any time, there's a stock market, which is pretty cool. You can buy land in Heroes Haven, and it gives players an opportunity to try characters they wouldn't be able to otherwise. I already have everything you need to start running this campaign. That includes a spreadsheet that helps you keep track of the days as they go by, as well as tracking the entire stock market for you, and other things that happen in the bank, such as withdrawals and deposits, and even property purchases. I also have a map of Heroes Haven itself, along with some other fun things like the laws of the town.
Stupid law.
Some menu items that you can get at the tavern, and a fun game called Arc Ball that I run at the stadium. I also have lore, proprietors, and maps for each of the buildings within the town that I'm going to release as I do those videos, and I have a bunch of encounters already ready to incorporate right into Heroes Haven. This includes a little bit of information about the quest, so that way maybe your players do some research in the library and they can find it. Nerd! It includes who's requesting the help, what the reward is, including what Craig's cut is, and maps for the encounter as well. So if all that makes sense as to why you should get a Heroes Haven campaign going, then let me take you over to the computer and we'll go over the spreadsheet.
Okay, so this is the spreadsheet that pretty much keeps track of everything regarding Heroes Haven. And the first sheet we're looking at here is the day tracker. So this is what you can use to help keep track of all the days within the game that occur. And that's going to be important for helping you keep track of the stock market and other things like that. So you can see the first row I use is more of an info row. It shows you how I color code the different sessions, so that way you can keep track of each different session you run of Heroes Haven and see what exactly occurred during those sessions. Then on row 4, you can see that is the Heroes Haven timeline. This I just use to keep track of any important events that happen in Heroes Haven. You don't have to keep track of every day for this one, but if you do something cool or exciting that happens, that maybe you want to remember exactly when that happened, or maybe it was something that tanked the stock market and you want to make sure you note that was what caused it, you can put that here in the timeline. And then every row after that is specifically for the new characters. A player can bring multiple characters, or just each individual player having their own character. Doesn't matter, every in-game character will have their own row, and you're going to use that to keep track of what that character did. So here I created 4 example characters: Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael. Totally random names.
Huh?
And you can see I left Michelangelo's blank to begin with here. And that's because I want to use this as an example of a player that couldn't show up right at start time. Maybe they were going to be an hour or 2 late, so they said, hey, go ahead and start without me. So the players running Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael did. And you can see here, day 1, I noted they collect the Ancient Artifact quest and leave Heroes Haven heading west towards Baldur's Gate. And then I just track every day from then on in-game. So they continued heading west towards Baldur's Gate on day 2 and ran into a man selling exquisite paintings of the surrounding area. And they continued on until day 4, where they arrived at Baldur's Gate and they snuck into a mansion per the quest that said, hey, somebody stole my ancient artifact. I know they live in this mansion, and I live here on the outskirts of Baldur's Gate. So they sneak in, they collect the ancient artifact, they return it to the man on the outside, and then they sleep in that person's home until the next day. Then day 5, 6, and 7, they travel back until eventually reaching Heroes Haven on day 8 and turning in that quest, collecting their money. Then you can see here the player controlling Michelangelo was able to show up at this point, and so their character was able to join the party here and be ready to go on the next quest. So at the end of day 8, the party heads out, heading south through the Wood of Sharp Teeth, which you'll see in a moment, to begin their Frail Fisheries quest. And so that continues on, showing that they head south. I didn't continue on from here because, again, these are just examples, but I'm going to continue these examples in the other tabs that I have. So the next sheet is the current location and notes. So let's say that this next quest, the Frail Fisheries quest, takes them all the way to day 22, and that's where you end the session. Well, before everyone leaves for the night, you just want to get an idea of what it is they expect their character will do in the meantime once this session is over. So you can see I notate the last session day for each of these 4 characters is day 22. Now, if they come back the next session, let's say Michelangelo and Donatello come back and the other 2 don't, those last session days will change at the end of that next session. The other 2 will remain the same, and that just lets you keep track of when the last time these characters were used. Then I notate where they are currently located. So all 4 of them are going to be staying somewhere near Heroes Haven. The first 3 are actually staying at the inn, which I call the Linked Inn. Look out for that in an upcoming video. And Raphael is going to be camping outside of Heroes Haven. That allows him to do this for free because you do have to pay to stay at the Linked Inn. And so then you want to ask, well, hey, how long are they going to be staying there? And just keeping other notes of what those characters are going to be doing. So you can see Michelangelo will only stay at the Linked Inn for 10 days. From there, he will join Raphael outside of the town. Donatello will stay at the Linked Inn until his gold runs out. Then he's going to travel to the Fields of the Dead, which is to the north, to stay with a friend of his. And Leonardo will stay at the Linked Inn for a week, then will camp on his own outside of the town. And so this just allows you, again, to keep track of the last place you saw these characters. So the next tab is the fun one. This is the markets. This is kind of what the DM sees. Your players won't really see that, but this is a good overview of exactly what's going on by day with the markets. So right here I have notated today's date, day 1 in the market. So this is when the session starts on the day 1. If somebody wants to buy shares, they can, and it shows you the current share price is 4.8 gold pieces. Then it also shows you every day going on the percentages that it goes up and down. These were all randomized, but now they're kind of set in stone, but you can change them. So if I go and I reveal column D, these are random numbers. The higher the number, the more the percentage goes up. The lower the number, the more the percentage goes down. And so you can change what the market does by adjusting these numbers. So if I change this, for example, to 100, you can see the market goes up 7% that day. 100 is the highest number you can do, 0 is the lowest number you can do. So let's see what happens when I put a 0 in. When you put a 0 in, the market goes down 3%. So if something really bad happens, maybe over the course of a few days after that event happens, you fill in zeros for those days to really tank the market. Or vice versa. Maybe you put in a couple 100s or 90s or 85s or whatever it is you want to put in. That is going to change how the market adjusts. So if we go to the next tab, this is actually an overview of what exactly is happening over time in the market. So beginning day and ending day is 1. So it really doesn't have anything to show here. It hasn't changed. But let's say we go to day 25. Well, there we go. We have a good idea of what the market has done over these 25 days. So anyone that maybe bought at day 5, they were pretty upset at day 10, but it's gone back up since then. And this is all a direct result of what we left here in the markets. We had a really good growth and allowed the market to grow over the first few days. We can go back and just see a good example of what happens when you tank the market. So if we go back to the share prices now, you can see the market has just absolutely tanked for anyone that bought right from the get-go. But the beauty of it is this does everything for you. All you have to do is go and keep track of what the day is, so that way when people go to buy shares, they know what day it is that they bought the shares. And if you want to adjust the markets, then you can do that here. It does all the calculations for you, and you never have to worry about a thing. So how do you keep track of exactly what's happening at the bank for each of the characters? Well, that happens right here in the hero sheets. So you can see I have a blank hero sheet noted at the bottom here. This I just copy whenever I get a new character, and I name that new sheet by the character's name. So let's slide over to Michelangelo's sheet, and I'll give you a good idea of exactly how I use it. So here at Michelangelo's sheet, you can see that he's actually made 3 different purchases of shares. Up here, it says on day 1, Michelangelo purchased 10 shares. So that might be because maybe their character started off with 50 gold, and you can see here it shows you what the price per share was, 4.8, and it cost them 48 gold pieces. Then when he returned after that first quest, let's say they got 300 gold pieces, he decided to sink 214 of it into the market and bought 45 shares. Then when they returned for the second quest, maybe they got an additional 400 or 500 gold pieces. He bought another 80 shares, now at 5.21 gold pieces per share, and that cost a total of 416. Over on the right here, it keeps track of the total number of shares that he has, being 135, what the portfolio value is. He has 648 gold pieces worth of shares, and how much he has gained or lost. So in this instance, he's lost 31 gold pieces so far. So it might be a good idea to keep it in there. But let's say maybe he didn't. Maybe he wanted to sell, I don't know, 30 shares on day 40. So you type the day, which it tells you here the share price is 5.36 gold pieces, and he sold 30 shares. He made 160 gold pieces back, and it shows over here now he has 105 shares remaining, the value being 504 gold pieces, and the current gain or loss with those shares being 14.2 gold pieces. But it does keep track of the total number of shares he's bought over time, being 135. Then we go to the next section where they can deposit and withdraw money in the bank without investing it. So if they maybe deposit, I don't know, 50 gold pieces on day 22, he can do so, and it reflects exactly how much gold he has in the bank. Then we slide over a little further, and this is where you keep track of the property purchases. So let's say that on day 100, Michelangelo decides to buy plot number 5. I don't have the map in front of me to remember exactly which plot was which, so I don't know if it was river adjacent. So let's just say it wasn't. That does matter because waterfront property always costs a little bit more, and it will do the calculation for that. Let's say that the area was 2,500 square feet. And then a purchase fee is involved in every purchase, which I will go over in a future video. And that purchase fee for a plot of land is always 150 gold pieces. But maybe he struck up a deal with Craig for some reason and he doesn't owe this purchase fee, or maybe he had to double it for some reason. You could always change this if you need to, but we'll just say that he paid the purchase fee of 150 gold pieces. So now the purchase total was 2,275 based on the current property value at day 100. Now, you'll notice here it says current property value today, and that's showing lower. That's because we didn't change the day in the markets tab. It still says day 1 when property values were a lot lower. So let's change this now to day 200 just to see if that property value gains any money. So if we go over to Michelangelo's tab, you can see now it says current property value is 2,550 gold pieces. So the property values indeed have gone up, and he has made a little bit of gold on this property. So that's an example of how this keeps track of everything, but it's only day 22. It's highly, highly unlikely that he would be able to purchase any property at this point, so we're gonna get rid of that. And then the last thing is the questing details tracker. So here's where you type in exactly what quests they've completed. I usually give funny names to all of my quests, so that way it's easy to remember which ones they've completed. So here I've noted that Michelangelo completed the Ancient Artifact quest. Then the next column, you can see I put beginner for the quest here. This is something I'm going to go over in the Town Hall video, so don't worry about that right now. There, I'll go over everything involved in the quests and making quests and exactly what it takes to complete one. The next column just notes the completion date and then what day did they collect the reward. Now the reason that's a different column is because sometimes they may complete the quest and go on to another one before they return to Heroes Haven. So this just notes what day they collected the rewards versus when they completed the quests. And then I have all the different tabs for the other three. You can see that they invested at different times. Some of them did put money in the bank, and Raphael, because he got a little bit later, doesn't have the original gold that everyone got from the first quest, but he does have the gold that you got from the second quest and decided to invest some of that. But also, if we scroll over to the quest tab, you can see he only has one completed quest, that being Frail Fishery. Now, the number of quests that they complete does matter because you are not allowed to buy land in Heroes Haven until you've completed 5 quests. This kind of prevents anyone from just sliding in, buying land, and kind of derailing your Heroes Haven campaign. They've got to do a little work before they can actually lay some roots in Heroes Haven.
Alright, ignore the outfit change. It got late last night, I fell asleep, but I wanted to come back and give you 2 quick tips before I end this video, right after I remind you that over on Patreon, I'm going to be posting everything you need for Heroes Haven. I've got the map for Heroes Haven, I've got the spreadsheet that we just went over, I've got a guide that covers all the buildings I'm going to be going over in upcoming videos, I've got the laws for Heroes Haven posted, and I even put up a mysterious letter you can send to any of the players you think would be interested in this campaign. It's from Craig, and it's the invite to come join on day 1 of the stock market opening. So you can get all that right now over on Patreon, and then as I post more videos with more buildings, maps, encounters, and even more stuff to add to your campaign, I'm gonna put all that up on Patreon, so check it out now. And now for 2 quick tips for running the campaign. The first thing is when you have new players coming into the game, let's just say session 1, pick one person to just enter the town and kind of peruse and do things as they see fit, and then let your other players enter organically, wherever they think their character may be placed. For instance, as the first person goes past the library, maybe the wizard says, "And you see," and they describe themselves being in the library. let it all happen organically around one person, and then in future sessions, I would say start with someone who's played before, but again, let them maybe wake up from the LinkedIn and walk out and go about their day and let the new characters say when they pop in. The second thing is to make sure you keep note of what your players are doing to your town, because remember, the town is the story at this point. So your Hero's Haven will look a lot different than mine as players either start to mess with the guards, or maybe they really want to steal from the bank, which would be highly difficult, or maybe they messed up something in the town hall as a LinkedIn and Craig and Angie aren't the happiest about it. So keep track of what your players are doing to the town and build off of that. You're gonna have plenty of quests to take them outside of the town, but what happens inside is the most fun. And that's everything I have for you in this video. I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of questions, so please feel free to reach out. I answer every question I can get to down in the comments, so you can put them there, or over on Patreon, you can directly message me yourself. Once again, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. We just hit 100 subscribers. I can't wait to go even further. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.